Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another week of training. This is Coach Matt for your Monday workout. And as a little preview for the week, just be on the lookout for multiple options, more extra credit, and more additional paths that you can follow when we get into a workout. And the goal with these is to allow you to pursue the areas of fitness or personal development that are more meaningful to you. So some people really like the sweat, we really like the Metcons. Other people is more like, I need to work on my shoulders, I need to work on my knees, I want to work on some strength work, and I'm trying to support as many of those different paths as possible. So when you see stuff in the workout where you're like, there's no way I could get all four of these pieces done in one setting, that is intentional, and it is not meant to be a comprehensive list of what you should do in a day. It's meant to be more, right? So on a day like today, we have a strength component that is a strength circuit, and then we have a short cash out at the end. But on later days in the week, you're gonna see so many options on there, and you're gonna have to pick, all right? And I'll explain that when we get to those days. So for today, let's get right into it. We're going for deadlifts. So for the warm-up, we're gonna do 8 reps of a shuttle run, so down and back 4 times. And then I want you to do 1 rep each of a high knee. That is fast feet. Try to be light on the balls of your feet and get your knees up higher than your hips when you do it, and then high heels or butt kicks. So this is a little bit slower, but try to get that dynamic quad stretch and hamstring pull when you do high heels. Then we're gonna get a mini band, put the mini band somewhere around your knees, and we're gonna do, since we're doing 2 rounds of this, I'd like for you to get 1 round where you're going forward, and then halfway down, I want you to spin around and go backwards, always having those feet parallel. And then the next round, we're gonna go side to side. And again, when you get to the middle, spin it around and go the opposite direction. When you finish with the band monster walk, let the band slide down to around your ankles, and we're doing 10 reps on each side of a high knee march. And just make sure the band stays around your feet, and try to get those knees at like dynamic hip flexor drive of the knee as high up as you can. And then we'll take the band off. We're gonna go 10 pogo hops into 5 bounding tucks, like so, okay? So 10 warm-up bounces, and then 5 ones where you try to pull your knees up higher. And again, all of those are about just making elastic, reactive contact with the ground, creating a lot of force into the ground and warming up all those lower extremity muscles, right? When you finish with 2 rounds of that warm-up, then we're going into deadlift specific warm-ups. I have 3 sets of 5 with barbell only on the first round, and then say 25 to 40-ish% on the second round, or 35% and then 35 to 50% on the third round. So we're getting some appreciable load on the barbell as we go through our warm-ups, and then we'll go into our strength circuit. So the strength circuit is built around 3s, 3-rep deadlifts up to 85 to 90%. So these should be very challenging lifts when you get to the later rounds of it. And I want these to be done in order. So when we do the deadlifts, it's 3 reps of those heavy deadlift, and then right into those other exercises, right? So we're in the middle of the strength circuit, or the strength training cycle of 18 weeks before we max out. So on this portion of it, we're gonna go for these heavy reps, and then we're throwing these other exercises in there, not as interference, but as other things to fatigue you and to give you a challenge alongside the deadlift, okay? So we're doing our 3 reps of the deadlift, 1, 2, 3, heavy, and then immediately I set the bar down, and I'm gonna go right to the ground for 30-second Superman hold. So this is an isometric hold with my arms straight up, my knees off the ground, and I'm squeezing all my posterior chain muscles. So squeezing my butt, squeezing my calves, squeezing my shoulders, and trying to get away from the ground in that prone position. Next one will be 15 reps of a heavy Russian kettlebell swing. Heavy is relative. I'd like to see the 70s and the 53s be out, but we're just doing the Russian swing, right? So squeeze those legs, drive that kettlebell out in front of you up to the eyeball height. Next, we're gonna do single arm rows, and ideally we're using the same kettlebell for all these things. You can brace a hand on a knee, or you can use a bench, brace a hand on a bench, but be mostly horizontal, arms straight, and then row until the kettlebell touches, or your hand touches your chest. And we're trying to pull in a horizontal pattern. So make sure we're not standing upright and pulling it upward like that, in line with the body. I wanna be horizontal or perpendicular to the body when I row. Next one will be 5 reps of an eccentric pull-up, right? This can be, you can jump into this, you can pull up into this, you can keep your feet on the ground if you like, and obviously the higher you have to go with your body, the more challenging these are. So what I would do is pick a height and a resistance level that allows you to use that 5 to 7 second eccentric, right? So I would go, for me, I'm like, my feet are on the ground with my arms straight and I can jump and pull over, and then 1 1000, 2 1000, 3 1000, pull my feet away from the ground, 4 1000, 5 1000, my elbows are extended, right? If you can go a little bit slower, that's fine, but in that range of 5 to 7 seconds of an eccentric. And then you can stop and shake your hands out between every rep. You do not have to keep hands on the bar the whole time, but get 5 reps of that slow eccentric pull up every round. And when you're done with all 5 of those, then it's time to rest, right? It should be fatiguing. It should feel like a little bit of cardio, but the movements are all strength-based movements, and we're resting to recovery before you do the next round. It's 4 rounds of that sequence, so it's only 12 total reps of the deadlift, so make sure you've got somewhere in that like 85% to start on your deadlift for that very first round, and then you can keep all 4 rounds in a pretty tight percentage, like 85 up to 90% maybe, okay? For the conditioning, it is a short cash out, which means this is like 7-ish minutes or less if possible. So 4 rounds for time, 4 reps on each arm of a heavy kettlebell clean and jerk. And what I would do on this one, and say hang is the first thing. You do not need to touch the ground with the kettlebell when we do the clean and jerks, but I would like for the kettlebell to stay close to your body, and I would like for it to be that same heavy weight that we used in the kettlebell swing and the kettlebell row. So bending my knees and punching the ground, pull that kettlebell up to my shoulders, and then again bending my knees, punching the ground, pushing that kettlebell up overhead with an explosive motion. And the more that I can use the actual clean, where I'm pulling my body down to catch that kettlebell as it comes up to about my solar plexus area, and the more I can drive my body down with my arm when I do that jump, the more efficient my movement is and the lighter the heavy weight feels. So I do 4 on the left, 4 on the right, then lay down for 16 reps of a V sit-up, right? So that is that hinging motion at my waist, trying to touch my toes and reaching my fingertips and my shoulders for the ground every rep. And then when I'm done with 16 V sit-ups, run out the door for a 200-meter run. It should be fast rounds, fast cash out. Your heart rate's high and you feel that little tingle in the back of your throat, maybe a little Fran lung from this one, but it'll be over quick, all right? And that's it for this Monday. Hope you guys have a great one, and I'll see you for more fun later in this week.